everybody. I do not have my introducer today, so I have to introduce myself. I'm Shannon. I see a lot of familiar faces, but also some that I don't recognize. Who's new today? Yay! Thank you. So glad you're all here. I truly appreciate it. Today is the second half of a holiday meal. Sort of did this with Thanksgiving in mind. Last month we did the first half, so by the end of today it will be the complete meal. First, I should tell you or thank the library for making this possible. I love this opportunity to do these classes here, and I'm just so very grateful to them that they make it happen. I have good news and I have great news about the future. So today they have booked me for the spring. I will be back in March, April, and May. And here's the really exciting news. They're giving me an extra half hour. I just can't ever fit it all. Well, I try really hard, but I don't always fit it into an hour. So I've got some wiggle room now. Or I can add a couple more recipes and probably run over my hour and a half. We'll see what happens. But so I'm very excited about that. What else? Oh, so for those of you that are going to join me on my tour of Central Japan in May, yay! Are you? Oh, nice to see you guys in person. Okay, fantastic. So May 12th through 23rd, I'm taking a small group of people to Japan. We will do all kinds of exciting things. We will do cooking classes. We will hike with snow monkeys. We will stay at a monastery and get taken care of by the monks. They will be cooking plant-based meals for us. So we're going to see an 800-year-old castle. We'll spend time in Tokyo at some fun spots. So still a few places or spots left. If anybody's interested, let me know. Or you can find more details on my website, chefshannonsway.com. What else do I want to tell you? Oh, yeah, so that fits nicely right in between the April and the May class. So not to worry, no classes will be missed or anything. So cookbook, thank you. Thank you for asking. So the electronic version is live today. It is, you can find it on Amazon if you're interested in the ebook. The printed one will go live Saturday. I tried really hard to get it done before this class so that I could have one in hand, but it didn't work out. But at least on Saturday, that one is available. And what's the title again? So, well, let me back up a little bit. Thank you for reminding me. So the series of books that I'm writing are based on the most common questions I get at these classes. So at some point, I realized that the things that people ask me today they've been asking me for 15, 20 years. So I just thought I would take the most popular questions and put them into books. So the first book is for you if you are one of those people that have come to me and said, I'm not a vegan, but I'm here to find out what to do when I have a vegan over. So this book is called Help, A Vegan's Coming to Dinner. This particular book is geared towards holiday meals, family meals, big gatherings. So the recipes are a little bit larger, will yield a little bit more than my typical recipe. You can always have them or scale them down if you need to. But basically it's my suggestions and recipes and menus that you can use when you have a group of, mixed tastes. So hopefully it'll be helpful to those of you that have been asking me about that. And with the holidays coming, hopefully it'll help out. So with that said, let's get to the fun stuff. Let's get to the food. So I'm going to start with mushroom gravy. So those of you that were here last month might remember my blender where I made the mashed potatoes last month and the gravy this month. So the two didn't get to meet up, but you'll get the idea. So, get that going. So those of you that are new, I do welcome questions when I'm cooking. If you have a question about something, speak up. Because if you have a question, chances are someone else has the same question. So this mushroom gravy is really versatile. It's not just for potatoes. I'm going to use it with our entree today. But anytime you need a quick gravy, this one is very flavorful, tasty, and super easy. I'm just melting some plant-based butter in the pan. And I'm going to add some sliced mushrooms and some diced onion. If you're not familiar with mushrooms and how to choose them, one of the most important things when you choose a mushroom is you want one that still has its cap attached to the stem. I left this one whole because it's a nice example. Once that cap separates from the stem, that means it's been around a while. It's starting to get old. The other thing is you don't want any soft spots or any brown spots on the mushroom. But the biggest indicator of freshness is to look at the bottom. And with that said, you'll notice that when you buy mushrooms, if you buy the prepackaged ones, how do they always pack them? So that you can't see the bottom, but anyway. All right, so mushrooms and onions. Now that's not the case with like a portobello mushroom. That cap is not attached, just a different mushroom. But all of these smaller ones, the brown ones, the white ones, check the underside, look for the cap, or the bottom of the cap. Sure. Yes.
Some of them are really dirty, and it's just the white thing that always bothers me.
Yeah, so here's my third thing I'm going to say to look for when you're buying a mushroom. Make sure the cap's still attached, no brown spots, and look for the clean ones. It is just too much work to hand clean each one with a little dry cloth. So I always buy the cleanest ones I can find so that it's faster and easier. But yes, that is the proper way to clean a mushroom. You want to wipe it clean. I usually just dump them out on a dish towel and then use the corner of the dish towel to wipe each one clean. You don't want to use water. They're very porous. They will absorb the water. And that's not, in itself, is not a huge issue. But the problem is water has no flavor. And if it's filled up with water, that's what it tastes like. So clean mushrooms make life a lot easier. I'm sorry, I heard something about button mushrooms. Oh, yes, these are just regular white mushrooms. Quite honestly, I was going to buy brown mushrooms today, and then when I looked at the ones at the store, the brown ones were really dirty. So I ended up with the white ones. So Whole Foods usually is a good place. Trader Joe's sometimes has some nice mushrooms, but they're prepackaged, so it's a little harder to inspect them. I guess I should have thrown this guy in there. Let's hurry and get him in there. When you're cutting a mushroom, unless you're really proficient and confident with your knife skills, the easiest way to cut something that's round is to cut an end off and make a flat side. And then, okay, work with me. Yeah, then it's not going to wobble around on you. So now I can finish slicing it, and it's not going to wobble. Good. By the way, on this Japan trip that I might have mentioned, we will be going to a knife store, kitchen knives. Having a quality knife is essential in my opinion. You can. What you have to do is put it in your luggage, your checked luggage. So that's one of the things we'll talk about. Once we get the trip full, we'll have a meeting. I recommend bringing something very big to hold all the things you're probably going to buy, including knives, and then have a smaller carry-on. And I always tell myself, well, just a couple of things, and then go crazy. All right. My onions are starting to turn translucent. Mushrooms are browning up a bit. So what else do we need to do? We need to mix some water and cornstarch. And what did I say, 1.5 cups in this recipe? Yeah, thanks. At home I don't measure, so when I'm here I'm trying to be good. All right. About 3 tablespoons of cornstarch, what did I say? Just testing you. All right, so my water's cold, or sort of cold. If you start with cold water, it's going to be easier to incorporate that cornstarch and not end up with lumps. Let's see. Whoops. I'm also just going to make life easier and put my seasonings in here. I know there's some pepper in there, some, oh my gosh. I opened the wrong end, isn't that funny? You guys didn't see that, right? So this is the star of the show. I love this umami powder from Trader Joe's, and 3 lucky people will go home with some of this today. So who, you might wonder, how do we decide who has a banana on their recipe program? Does anybody notice some of John's nice artwork? Okay. All right. So I'm adding the umami powder, and I'm adding onion powder. If you're not familiar with this word, umami, kind of a strange word, but basically think of it as adding a depth of flavor to your dishes. It's very versatile. You can put it with on many, many things, but it's excellent in this gravy. This particular one is from Trader Joe's. I'm also going to add some coconut aminos. So coconut aminos are, I think, soy sauce, similar to soy sauce. However, far less sodium. It's a really nice seasoning for many, many things. Anything you would use soy sauce on and more. But what it is, it's the nectar from the coconut blossom. No. 0. Yeah, so coconut, traditionally, yes. If you're watching your cholesterol, stay away from coconut, but not this. This is okay. Go ahead. Far less. Yeah. Yeah. For instance, a tablespoon of the coconut aminos is 9% of the daily value of sodium, so a lot less. You can buy coconut aminos just about everywhere. One of the least expensive and one of the best happens to be at Trader Joe's. I sometimes use tamari, but I really like this. I've gotten used to it, and I use it in place of soy sauce in most cases. Yes, you sure can. Right? I actually know what I'm doing, but I get distracted very easily. So, talking and cooking at the same time is a little challenging. But I'm just going to whisk this in. And then after it thickens a bit, I'll test it and make sure it doesn't need any adjustments with the seasoning. But pretty fast and easy. Stuffing. She meant vegan steak, I'm sure. Yes. Yes.
I'm just going to kind of make an announcement, but also ask you, for those of you that have not seen Shannon and other cooking demonstrations on our YouTube page, Ranch and Raj Library and the Observatory YouTube page, you can see all the other things that she has done. With that being said, Shannon, can you repeat the questions that are being asked? Because I'm watching from my office, and I can't hear what's being asked. So, just so that for the future people that are watching, if they understand what is being asked. So, but I hope you guys all go back and watch our YouTube page, get our views up, and make Shannon a superstar, YouTube star.
So, Erin, I have to tell you that TJ has told me to repeat the questions about 500 times. I'm just a slow learner, but I'm trying. But you help me. I'm going to pick on this person in the front row. She's going to remind me to repeat questions. So, yeah. Oh.
We'll work with Shannon to go back to the previous thing we had.
Yeah, I generally don't watch these because it's awkward and uncomfortable to watch, but I had to open up the program and I clicked the link and I ended up there and there's quite a few. I kind of had forgotten, so. Is that all? No, sir. I thought there were more. Okay.
And then, if you guys have not, I know she hasn't announced it yet, but she is coming back next spring.
Thank you.
To work, so I'm going to watch them on the mic.
Okay. I'll do better. If I don't, it's this lady's fault. The multitasking is You know, maybe one of these years I'll get it down. So our gravy is getting thick. Can you guys smell it? Yay. So I need one of my little tasting spoons. So I'm not looking for super thick gravy. I just want something that'll coat my spoon. But let's see how the seasoning is. Yep. Good enough to eat. The mushroom, the umami powder, has a little bit of thyme in it. And it's a really nice addition to the gravy. It gives it a little bit of zip. So, we don't have mashed potatoes today, but we do have an entree. And I'm going to serve the gravy with the entree. So here's my little dish of lots of pepper. Try not to spill that. Oh. So,
Repeat the question, please.
thank you. Do I ever saute mushrooms?
Dry
Dry.
sausage.
Yeah, sometimes. You know what? I forgot to put the garlic in. For those of you that have never been here before, I bet you're really impressed so far. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, there's our garlic. It's in there. And I didn't repeat that question, did I?
You did.
Oh, I did?
Yes.
Okay.
Do I ever draw something?
Okay. Yes. Okay. All right. Garlic is in there. Can't say I left it out. Okay. Garlic, butter. Move some of this to the side. Okay, clean up my mess a little bit. So our entree today can be served two ways. I chose the time saver route where I made one big thing rather than little individual ones. Something really important I wanted to tell you. I don't know what it was. So this is puff pastry filled with what you see in the recipe there. But what I think I'm going to do, it's a little bit fragile, is I'm going to anchor it with a little bit of the gravy. We'll do that and we'll add a little more at the end. But we're going to transfer this on there. Ouch. Like so. So if you make this at home, let your filling cool a little bit before you fill the pastry and bake it. And the reason is because the warm filling will make the dough soften and expand, like Exhibit A here. I was in a hurry today, didn't have time for my filling to cool, but that's why it just kind of lost its shape a little bit. Doesn't hurt the flavor at all. Could I get a Band-Aid up there? So I'm going to put a little gravy across the top. So it's one. Where do you find puff pastry and vegan puff pastry? So I would say about 90% of what's out there is accidentally vegan, the puff pastry. I think one's coming, but thank you. I appreciate that.
If you're doing the individual cups,
Yes.
how many do you serve?
1 cup per person.
But like how many pastries is like one cup pastry thing?
Oh, sorry. You can buy the individual cups pre-cut. Thank you. Thank you. So the question was how many cups you can get out of 1 package of puff pastry. They come, I believe, in packages of 6 that are pre-cut. And those will make your life a lot easier if you get the pre-cut ones. And they're accidentally vegan. So in fact, I almost never see puff pastry that is not vegan. So it was traditionally made with butter, but it's less expensive to use the the other bad shortenings in it. So very easy to find. I think you could probably go into any store in the valley and find the puff pastry. This particular one is from Whole Foods. And actually, I do have to say the Trader Joe's one is not vegan, but most out there are. Even the ones that are really easy to find, like Pepperidge Farms, those are vegan. So the other thing I'm going to do is, in the recipe, I tell you to reserve some of the mushrooms. And the reason is because I think it looks nice if you put some of these browned giant mushrooms. Boy, if you don't like mushrooms, I'm sorry. This probably isn't your day, but if you do like mushrooms, oh my gosh, they're so good when they're browned like this. And you can just make it look a little prettier if you have reserved some of the ones from the beginning. Sure. Yes. Okay. Yeah, so the question is explain how to make this happen, basically. So what you do, this particular piece of puff pastry came in a big rectangle. So what you're going to do is let it thaw just a little bit, just enough so that it's pliable. You never want puff pastry to get warm when you're working with it. So what you do, or what I did earlier, is my giant cutting board at home. I laid the rectangle out on that. But first I put down, thank you, could use another layer. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, it works.
Cool. Okay, that'll seal it. Thank you.
No problem.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
My hero. All right. Okay, so put a piece of parchment paper down first. Put your semi-thawed puff pastry sheet on that, and then go ahead and put your filling along the center, but leave some space on the side. So on this big sheet, I probably left about an inch from the edge with the filling. And then what you do is, yes, cool it slightly. If it's too warm, it'll make your pastry expand and lose its shape a little. But what you do is you dip your fingertips in water and go around the inner side of the pastry, and then you fold the flaps in. And that water sort of glues it together, works like glue. So just kind of gently press down your seams and then flip it over so that your seam is on the bottom. And then I used a fork to crimp the ends. And it's important to do that because otherwise the filling is going to come out the ends during baking. And then it also needs some vent holes. So I made some slices on the top just to let the steam escape, and there you go. Yeah, you're welcome. Oh, thank you for bringing that up. Someone asked about using parchment paper, and I do recommend using it because especially if you're making a big one, because if you make it on the parchment paper, all you have to do is lift the paper to transfer it to your baking sheet. Makes life a lot easier. So yes, I do recommend parchment paper because of that. Sure. I don't know why not. The question was, can you prepare this and freeze it? I think so. I've never done it, but I don't see why not. Yeah. I think you know what you're doing. You're good. I think that'll work. Yeah, I don't see why it wouldn't work. I'm going to cut a little bit too. Maybe. Well, it would probably work because there are frozen things like that that you can buy in stores that are already prepared. Like little hors d'oeuvres and things, they use puff pastry, uncooked puff pastry all the time. So I think it would work. I'm sorry, I've never done it, so I can't tell you firsthand.
Excuse me, I batch cook, and I live alone, and make, weeks worth of that.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking I could cut this into serving sizes and wrap it up and leave it in the freezer, and then cook it serving by serving.
I think it would work, yeah. The only thing with reheating this is don't be tempted to microwave it. Puff pastry and the microwaves don't get along. So a toaster oven or a regular oven, something like that, and you won't get soggy crust. But there we go. There is our entree for Thanksgiving. Thank you. And I would just serve it with a bowl of gravy on the side, so if people want a little bit more, they can easily do that. Tiny little bit in this big bowl. But there we go. There's our mushroom gravy. And it's quite easy, right? It's right there. All right. So now we're going to switch over to the funky cranberry relish. Okay, so cranberry relish, my family's divided on the topic. Half of my family likes the traditional gel-like relish that you see on most tables. It's okay. I have nothing against it, but after trying this, that other traditional one seemed very, very boring to me. This one is fresh. The cranberries are not cooked. And the other thing I like about it is traditional relish, cranberries are very tart. So if you want to make them sweet, it takes a lot of sugar. With this fresh relish, it's more savory than sweet. So it is not, it doesn't have nearly the amount of sugar that the other one has. If you think it looks funky and it sounds strange, try it anyway. And you might just be hooked. So this one actually contains horseradish and onions. So, and the other thing is it's all made in a food processor, and it's really fast, and you store it in the freezer. So what could be easier? You could go home and make this now and pull it out on Thanksgiving Day. So it's a couple of cups of fresh cranberries. It's how much sugar? Thank you. And then some onion. I brought a little too much onion, but we'll put some of this in here. I'm going to just pre-chop it so there aren't any huge slices to get tangled up in there. All right. Okay. I'm going to actually blend it a little bit, and then I'll add the other two ingredients. So I'm just going to pulse it a few times. Perfect. And I know it sounds really strange. I can just feel you out there saying, oh, that looks so weird, but try it. Just try it. What do you have to lose? 2 cups of cranberries, no big deal. So I'm going to add some fresh horseradish. So interestingly, it's hard to find horseradish that doesn't have eggs in it. Eggs. I know, right? I see your faces. It seems very strange and unnecessary, but it is very common. I would say most brands have egg in them. This one is Gold's. This one is actually sold in the refrigerated case. I got this at Whole Foods this morning. And it's fresh grated horseradish. So I suspect that it's going to be a little bolder than the other style, the kind that you find on the shelf. So I'm going to put a little bit less than what I call for here. What did I say? 2 tablespoons? Yeah. I'm going to do 2 teaspoons and taste it, and then we'll go from there. And then we want some sour cream. Vegan sour cream. I'm using Kite Hill brand today. It's, I got this at Whole Foods, and you can find it at other stores in the Valley, but this is one of the better ones, in my opinion. So this is going to turn a funky color now that we've added this. And if anybody says it looks like Pepto-Bismol, you're not welcome back. There you go. There's cranberry relish. You don't have to stand at the stove and stir. That's so good. I really hope you try it. Yes. Yes. Go put it right into an airtight container and freeze it. And then the day of, maybe transfer the container to the refrigerator. About an hour before serving, maybe take it out to room temperature.
Does that do something for it, or could you serve it right away?
You could serve it right away. Well, I take that back. You want it to sit a little bit because the sugar needs time to dissolve. I think it would. The only thing is that the cranberries might get a little too pulverized if you use a blender instead of a food processor. What you could do is hold back some of the cranberries and chop them really well with a knife, but put some in the blender with the rest, and then mix in your chunkier pieces. I use organic sugar, and it doesn't dissolve as quickly as standard sugar. Why do I use organic, you ask? So the reason is because, all sugar is vegan, but regular sugar is not processed in a vegan way. What they do is they filter sugar through a gelatin filter, which, as you may know, is ground animal hooves. None of that transfers to the sugar. Regular sugar is still vegan, but it's made in a way that is not vegan friendly. So the organic sugar, any organic sugar is not has not been processed that way. So, but the pieces of sugar, the little granules, tend to be a little bigger. And they just don't dissolve as quickly. So you were asking about serving it right away. Just if you have the same kind of sugar I use, give it a little bit of time to dissolve. So there we go. And then this fresh stuff, I'm going to stop at 2 teaspoons. I can taste it just a little in the background, but it's not overpowering. So I think it's a friendly amount for people that like horseradish, and maybe people that don't will still be okay with it because it's not super strong. If I was just making it for myself, I'd probably add another scoop. So there we go. Please try it and let me know. I love it when people let me know that they've made the stuff. I got some really great pictures from the last class, people going home and making sweet potato gnocchi. Thank you. Very grateful. Oh, and that reminds me, is Cassie here today? Hi, Cassie. So if you were here last class, I gave a shout out because I was so impressed that this woman named Cassie said she's come to all the classes, and she told me in great detail about each of the recipes she made, and I just was so impressed and so excited that when I came to class, I gave her a shout out. And I'm saying, Cassie? She wasn't here. But later that night, I got this email saying, I'm watching the video right now, and I missed my shout out. So now you got one in person, too. But thank you. I appreciate all of you that try these recipes. I love your feedback. I love the photos. It just it makes my day. Makes it all worthwhile, so thank you. So does anybody like dessert? Yeah, okay. All right, I figured. Actually, last class, I was trying to decide, I took a poll, should I make pumpkin pie or should I make a chocolate bourbon pecan pie? And there was this at the mention of chocolate. I don't know why, but so I made both today. With the pumpkin pies, I made little individual pies. I like to take some of the crust and do little cutouts and put them on top. For some reason, the only cutouts I could find at home were my wedding-themed ones. So I didn't figure that would work for the holidays. So I took a tiny little cup and I turned it upside down and made some little circles. But I'm really happy with this pumpkin pie recipe. Took me a while to get it to where I liked it. It's got lots of flavor, the nutmeg, the cinnamon, it's all bold. Has a very delicious custardy consistency in the middle. I hope you'll try it. I hope you'll love it. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about eggs. So traditional pumpkin pie is made with eggs, and pecan pie too, for that matter. So I know a lot of us think, well, gosh, they're in everything. They must be essential to the recipe's success. Not so. These pies don't need eggs, and I think you'll be happy with the results. If you think about an egg, for those of you that think, oh, I've always made it with an egg, maybe I need to make with eggs. Think about if you had a saute pan and you cracked an egg and put it in there and you cooked it. Think about that smell, that flavor of just a plain egg cooking. Think about that in your pie. Think of all the things you have to do to the pie so that you don't taste that egg, right? So I feel like half the ingredients in pies and things that have eggs are to make it not taste like egg. It's really not essential to the cooking success for it holding together or anything else. So don't be worried about not using eggs. It works out just fine. So this is the pumpkin pie. I made an impulse buy this morning at Whole Foods. I don't think I have ever bought whipped topping in a can before. Just not my thing, pre-made like this. But oat-based whipped topping, I thought, why not? Let's all try it together in class and see what happens. So, yeah, it's water, tapioca syrup, oat flour. Yeah, interesting. Okay, so let's see what happens. Okay, not off to a great start. Oh, there we go. Okay, it's not the best presentation. I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong. Anybody used to using these? Okay. I usually make whipped cream in a bowl with a mixer and blah, blah, blah. An angle? A right angle. Oh, look at you. All right. There's going to be a lot of whipped cream on here. I hope this stuff tastes okay. Well, I'll leave this here. Yeah, so my technique was wrong. Was not very good, so yes.
For the pumpkin pie, do you think you could use coconut sugar instead of brown sugar?
Yes. Thank you. The question was substituting coconut sugar for brown sugar in the pie, and I do think that would work just fine. Yeah. It already has coconut cream in it. And by the way, coconut cream and coconut milk are not the same thing. This is what coconut cream looks like, and I've got 3 of these as door prizes today. But it's thick. It's not thin like coconut milk is. So make sure you buy the right one.
I wanted to ask you what your go-to salt is.
My go-to salt. I have so many different kinds of salt in my pantry that I couldn't tell you I have just one go-to one. Just depends what I'm making. Sometimes I like the flakes. Sometimes I use black salt. It just depends what I'm making. So I don't have a simple answer. I'm sorry.
Follow-up question to that then.
Okay.
How do you know which salt to use when?
Have you ever used black salt? So black salt is when you're making something that you want to be egg-like. Like if you're making a quiche or like a vegan egg salad. It has a very sulfurous odor and taste to it. It smells like eggs. I've thought many times of making, like when we do classes that focus on some starter recipes, I always want to make my version of egg salad for you, but then I know that if I open up that black salt, I'm going to clear the room because it really has a strong sulfur smell to it. But it makes things taste very egg-like. So that would be a reason to use black salt. Flake salt, like the big flakes, I'll use sometimes as a topping on things if I want just that impact. Regular table salt or just for everyday seasoning is probably going to be some sea salt. I have a variety. So, yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know if that helps at all.
And I see that the black salt is also used to make lassis, yogurt lassis, East Indian, Nepali.
Yeah.
That's part of what gives it
Yes.
that kind of smell.
Yes. Yeah, you do see it a lot in Indian cooking, the use of black salt.
Kefir.
Mm-hmm.
Most people think of it as kefir.
Yes. Yeah. I don't think any of the stores here carry it. I've got mine online, the brand that I use with the black salt. But, these are from Trader Joe's. Mm-hmm. Do you have a little, what was it? What was the picture? Oh, banana. Do you have a banana in your program? Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to say I can make sure you get one of the coconut creams today, but all right. So chocolate bourbon pecan pie is one of my favorites. I only make it once a year at Thanksgiving, but I really, really like this recipe, if I do say so myself. I want to cut it open so I can show you what it looks like. It's an easy recipe. It's a forgiving recipe. And it's just delicious, in my humble opinion. So I'm sorry, I did not include it today. It is in the book, though. Sorry, that sounds terrible. It actually wasn't intentional, but I had typed up today's recipes before I decided to make this. So I'm sorry. That wasn't, now I feel badly. I'm sorry. Let's see. I think I'm going to put it on the cutting board. And let's see if I can. All right. I want you to see the color inside. So to make it chocolatey, the filling has chocolate chips in it. And they melt during the baking and make it fudgy and absolutely delicious. And then just to make it a little prettier, I melted some chocolate chips and just drizzled them on the top, just to give it a little bit of a topping. But I don't know if you can see that, but I'll leave that like that. I did use a ready-made pie crust today. I'm sorry, hope I haven't let you down. I bought some at Whole Foods that are organic and don't have lard or butter in them. No, I did not.
What did you do?
Thank you. I did not par bake the crust. It just went right into a cool, not frozen, but a cool. I pulled it out of the freezer, the pie crust, just when I started combining all of the ingredients to let it thaw just a little bit, but I didn't want it to be warm. And then I just baked it all together. It does take a while to bake, just under an hour, but it's worth it. I hope you'll give it a try. I hope you enjoy it. The bourbon that's in it is optional, of course, but it adds a really nice after flavor to it. And with the cooking, it actually cooks the alcohol out, but the flavor remains. So it's pretty delicious in my humble opinion. Any questions about pie or? This one at Whole Foods I'm pretty impressed with. I have a homemade one that I like that's really easy. I used it last year when I did a class, and I had empanadas on the menu. I gave my pie crust recipe out then. It's also in the new cookbook because one of the entrees in there is a root vegetable pasty. And so that homemade crust is for that. You can buy it on Amazon. The electronic copy is available starting today. The paperback edition is available starting Saturday. I tried to have it done before today, but it didn't happen. But other...
I saw a vanilla paste with bourbon in it at Trader Joe's.
Yes.
Did you use that?
I use vanilla paste, but not that one. Yeah. Yeah, oh, thank you for reminding me about so the recipes, I'll say vanilla or, well, my preference is the vanilla bean paste. If you can find it, it's getting easier to find. I highly recommend that over vanilla. It just really lends a richness that the liquid does not. It's ground vanilla beans. It just adds a really nice, beautiful flavor of vanilla. You don't have that, you can use regular vanilla, but it's worth tracking down some paste if you're going to do some baking this holiday season. So, yeah. Any other questions? Yeah. I'm afraid not. Not this year anyway. Yeah. So, yeah. But you've got recipes now, so you can make your own feast, right?
I think that mushroom gravy would be great over just some pasta too, as like
Oh yeah.
almost like a stroganoff.
Yeah. That's a great idea. Okay. So everybody, her house tonight. She's. You know what? That gravy is really a lot like a stroganoff sauce. So, yeah, that's a great connection. Yeah.
What's the name of your book?
The book is called Help, A Vegan's Coming to Dinner.
Help or help?
Help. Yeah. There will be more books coming, but that's the first one because I know so many of you have shared with me that you are not vegan, but you come to learn what you can serve when you're feeding folks that are vegan. So I hope it's helpful. I hope the holiday meal helps you out with some ideas. I really am excited to get some emails from people telling me they tried the funky cranberry relish. I hope you enjoy it. Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for coming. So anybody that has that beautiful artwork on their flyer, please come up. There's also a QR code up here for anybody wanting to have the link for the book.